Sure Jazz recap here on DJ and PK 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott with you. The Jazz win in double overtime over the Chicago Bulls, 150-147, thanks to a last-second three-point bucket from Keyonte George to win it. Keyonte finished the game with 33 points and 6 assists. Lauri Markkanen led the way. Man, he's off to a monster start this year. He had 47 points on 15 of 33 shooting, 6 of 17 from 3 in the win for the Utah Jazz. Let's get to the postgame sound and Jazz head coach Will Hardy.
It's a really gritty win. I think the emotional highs and lows that go into the end of that game, you can't underestimate. So many guys made an impact tonight. Obviously Lauri is going to get talked about a lot, and he carried us. His presence settled us down. He didn't carry us. His presence settled us down for the majority of the game. Keyonte had a tough start and then really came on in the second half and overtime, made some big plays. I thought having he and Zay in the game helped us a lot. Bryce deserves a lot of love tonight. His minutes have not been super consistent. I think he played about 20 minutes straight in that game, made some really big shots, made some big plays. I think his engagement on the defensive end is continuing to go up. Nurk has been, really a centerpiece in our team and doesn't get talked about really at all. But the screen setting, the rebounding, the rebound at the end to get those free throws is a huge play. I could go down the list and talk about every guy, but more than anything, we're showing growth in terms of our mindset. When things don't go well at the end of regulation and we end up in overtime, things don't go well at the end of the first overtime, we end up in double overtime. And the guys stayed focused and made a lot of big plays. I'm just proud of them for hanging in the fight, and it's a great team win. I thought our fans were incredible tonight. I thought the energy in the building was tremendous. Really proud of the team.
Got to ask about the delay of games. Number one, the first one, it seemed like Keyonte was kind of sprinting out of the tunnel to start the game.
I don't know. He has 3 hours to get dressed. I don't know what happened, but I know that I looked out there and he wasn't there and we got a delay.
The second one, what was the reason that you were given for the second?
Team attendant came out to wipe up sweat without being asked by the officials. I don't want to give money away, so I'm not going to comment on what I think of that particular moment. Christmas is coming.
The maturity of your backcourt, is this just a victory you maybe not have been able to get in the last 2 years as those guys were first and second year players?
That's hard to say. I do feel like their presence, their communication, their understanding of what we're trying to do is for sure higher than it was last year. And so I want to give them credit for their growth. It'd be hard for me to say last year we wouldn't have won because of where they were in their arc. But I think that, if you talk to Zay and Keyonte, I coach those guys hard, and they're amazing to work with. They respond well. They understand. We go back and forth. We have moments where we butt heads, but I'm really proud of both of those guys. Being a guard in the NBA is really hard. Being a young guard in the NBA, playing down the stretch of games, having responsibility that's probably a little bit ahead of where you are in your career. Those guys handle it with a lot of grace because sometimes the moments are difficult and they're front and center, but I'm proud of both of those guys.
When it comes to Bryce, you mentioned kind of his uptick on the defensive side. Where have you seen that or how have you seen that evolve? Not just in the last year, but especially in the last few weeks since the season started.
Yeah, I think he's earlier to his spots. Defense requires thinking one step ahead. And if you can get your body to a spot early, then you usually only have to move in one direction. If you are late, then you have to go in and out, and those plays athletically are hard for anybody. So I think he's been better at being early in his help positioning so that he can just move in one direction.
How much has the shape that he's in now contributed to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the work that Bryce has done on his body shows in a lot of ways.
What does Ace need to do defensively to just be able to stay on the floor?
Yeah, it's the first 4 fouls were all pretty similar. 2 hands, kind of hand checking on drives, and and then in the second half he did a good job of showing his hands and clipped him with his hip. Those plays can happen, but those weren't why he fouled out. It was the first 4. But he understands. Like, I think for the most part, Ace has done a pretty good job of showing his hands. For whatever reason tonight, some of those guys driving downhill at him, especially in transition, like your instinct as a human is to protect this part of your body, and so you kind of go like this, and those are easy calls for the officials. So he'll look at the film, but I don't think it's an issue in this moment, because we haven't had a ton of these with him.
With Keyonte, of course, he had the huge basket, but it's also in the little things with him. He made a lot of little reads throughout the night, just communication with Lauri, with Nurk. How have you seen him involved when it comes to his decision making, especially in crunch time situations?
Yeah, those situations are, we sort of try to set up the environment, and then they have to all think together. We don't do a ton of one person by themselves and everybody else watch them. So I think that Keyonte's understanding of what the objective is based on who he's playing those possessions with is important. Like, when he's handling and Lauri is screening, what are we trying to do? The last shot he made, when Zay is the one initiating and doing the handoff to him, what is his read? We've used Keyonte as a screener a little bit, lately. And so I think the depth of his understanding is showing, because it's not just one situation. When guys are first starting out, you want to try to see growth in something, and so you keep it pretty consistent. Like, hey, you're going to be in this spot. The environment looks generally the same, so if they can get good at the reads. I think Keyonte's at a point now where we can mix things up, which helps us. It keeps our opponent on their toes a little bit, but he does the work in practice. He does the work watching film. Keyonte's a really smart, like a really, really smart young man. You guys interact with him a ton. Like, he's sharp, and we're fortunate, and I'm fortunate that I can put him in a bunch of different spots, because it allows us to change things on the fly.
Does he deserve kind of a moment like this?
Keyonte?
I know exactly what you're
No. Yeah, he does. He does. Keyonte works really hard. He cares as much as any guy I've been around. He wants it bad. And I'm really happy for him. So I'll be nice to him for the rest of the night.
It's okay to pat him.
Yeah, and then I'll see him tomorrow.
That is Jazz head coach Will Hardy. Let's now move on and hear from Bryce Sensabaugh.
Kidding. I wanted Bryce Sensabaugh tonight because he made 2 of the biggest hustle plays that kept this game alive. Bryce,
Yes,
let's walk through them. Let's talk about first. The offensive rebound was really was an absolutely fabulous play.
Yeah, man. I'm just, doing everything that I can, man. Scratching and clawing, to impact the game. And, a lot of the times late game, teams forget to box out. So, I'm just crashing through the elbows. Things that we work on, and I was fortunate tonight.
You've made your life as a scorer, and you're being asked to do these other things. How's that adjustment?
Man, it's been great. It's a lot of fun, not just relying on my shot. And, you know, just impacting the game in so many ways and becoming an all-around player is very important for me. And it's something I've been working on nonstop this season. And, you know, I feel like it's paying off.
All right, now I'm forgetting the second one, but I talked about it throughout the broadcast. What was the second hustle play? Do you know what I'm talking about? You going to tell me which one it was? Loose ball, knocked away a loose ball or something, I think?
Dive on the floor?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There was quite a few of them, and I'm proud of myself for that. Putting my body on the line, you know, taking that charge, it was a block, but you know, things like that, just, you know, putting my body on the line for this team to get wins is very important for me. And, you know, that's, you know, this team is bigger than me, so I'm going to do whatever it takes.
You've been with Key this whole journey. What did you see out of him tonight? He had a rough first half. Mm-hmm. And what did you see out of him that he bounced back tonight? Man,
this whole season, like, his mental toughness has been off the charts. Like, you know, the stuff that he has to handle as a lead guard in the NBA at such a young age, you know, he handles it with great poise. And, you know, I tell him all the time, like, you know, whatever you do, like, we're living and dying on that hill. And today we live, so.
And what about Lauri, back-to-back 40-plus?
Man, amazing. All-star caliber player. You know, I should be in the MVP race right now. He's willed us to a bunch of wins this season, you know, in this early season. And, you know, man, he's just – we rely on that guy so much, and he's so tough, you know, getting to his spots. And, you know, he's a footer, so he gets a shot off whenever he wants to. So, you know, he makes everybody's life easier.
Super proud of you, Bryce. Great job.
Yes,
Way
sir.
to bounce back. Tough start to the season. You've earned it now. Great job.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
See it.
That's Bryce Sensabaugh. Great game for Bryce. 16 coming in off the bench and a bunch of big-time hustle plays down the stretch. Let's now hear from Lauri Markkanen.
Just getting the win. It was a hard fight, obviously, and I think everybody had to give their all tonight, and I think it's a really – we can be happy about this win, but there's obviously stuff that we can fix, but it's hard to win games like this, so that's all that matters.
How much is it mental when you're playing in double overtime?
It's very mental. Just executing. Everybody's tired, not just you. It's your teammates. It's your opponents. Everybody's tired. You got to understand that. And just pushing everything out of your body, and I think that takes a little mental strength, and not just physically, but like it takes obviously trying to execute down the stretch while you're tired. Defensive coverage, call it out. But these are the games that you want to play. Obviously, they're a lot of fun. We wish that we got it done in the regulation, obviously, but I mean, you wouldn't change double overtime game. Those are fun.
Why do you think you're scoring so much this year?
I think I'm getting good looks. I've always said it about my teammates. There's them setting screens and finding me, and it wasn't different tonight. They did a great job. Feels good to see a couple go down. But obviously, I don't know if I've ever shot 33 times in a game. So I'm sure that helps. Kind of the volume is higher.
Do you feel like you're scoring more easily this year than you have in years past?
I feel like I mean, there's some easy buckets that you get when we move the ball and move the body so well that like defense going to mess up sometimes and just get a wide open dunk with them switching off the ball or whatever. But still got to work for some of them. Obviously, NBA has a lot of good defenders, and just kind of trying to find my way.
There's Lauri, 47 points from Lauri Markkanen, career high, 33 attempts, 15 of 33 from the field. Let's hear from the game's hero, Keyonte George.
Yeah, but my jersey wasn't on. That's what happened. I don't know. My age came out with that one.
Obviously, not the way that you want to start tonight, but from that being the start to then finishing up with a game winner, that's got to feel good.
For sure. I think during the third quarter, Will came up to me and he just kept telling me like the tide was going to turn at some point. And he always tells me like just play the game the right way, and the game will end up finding you. And so I try my best to, you know what I'm saying, just play in the flow, play jazz basketball. And then, like he said, the tide started turning for me. Shots started to fall. I was able to get a couple free throws, a couple layups. But, I just think, obviously I haven't been able to watch the film, but I think I'm glad that I was able to just play in the flow of the game and not try to force so I could try to shoot myself out of a slump or whatever. I was still playing in the flow and everybody was still in rhythm.
when you're sprinting out to try and make it out there in time for tip-off, does that throw you off at the start of the game?
It got my heart rate up. That was good for me, and I was able to kind of start the game a little fast. And but I mean, I told Scott as soon as it happened, I said there's a first time for everything.
We've seen Bryce develop this year, kind of defensively, holding him accountable, but then tonight had a big impact on that side of the game. What have you seen just in that part of his development of the last 9, 12 months? Since you guys have been really working?
We talk about sacrifice, and I think Bryce has sacrificed a lot. Like, obviously, y'all know what he's capable of, but the fact that he's sitting down, on the court, you hear his voice. Like, he's really locked into the scheme with whoever we're playing. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you already know, like, he can shoot the ball really well. If we need him to go get one, he can. I mean, down the stretch, he had a play where he was at the elbow and he looked around. I was like, go ahead. And so, like, I think he's really finding his identity within himself. So when he goes out on the floor, he already knows what his job is, and he just every day, like, I see the professionalism, I see how he works there before practice, after practice, like, it's just so many things that go into him performing out there, and then he's just been staying ready. And tonight, I don't know how long he played. I think Will came in and said he played like 20 minutes straight, but I think that's just a testament to Bryce, like, staying ready. Like, I mean, he could have easily just hung his head, like getting a couple of DNPs and then playing 6 minutes here, 6 minutes there. But his time came tonight, and he was able to close the game. So I think for Bryce, this is a really good, I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but he should feel really good about himself, and this should start kind of his rhythm going in for the rest of the season.
As a point guard, when you see Lauri's got, like 18 and a half, 30 by the third quarter, do you want to find him more often, and how do you make that happen?
It's not about do I want to, it's about how do we. Because at the end of the day, they're going to try to ruffle him up, try to push him around. So I think, I don't know, us guards being great screeners, we're able to play out of the 5. So I think we just all got, like, when he has 40, like, we just, at that point, he going to throw it up to the roof and it might go in. So, but I think to answer your question, it's just about us being great screeners and then putting pressure on the paint. And then knowing that, I mean, if his guy doesn't help, then it's easy layups. But if they do, then, their head coach is going to be mad. So I think it's just about, like I said, playing in the flow and finding a hot hand. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it.
Those shots are the shot every kid dreams of hitting when they're on the playground by themselves. Do you still have an ability to kind of step back in the moment, realize that's just really unique and pretty special?
I mean, I probably won't really sit back and think about what you're talking about till I get home, honestly. But yeah, I mean, Will drew the play up. Obviously, Lauri, we wanted to get the ball to Lauri. But I think the biggest testament to Lauri is, like, he was empowering me the whole time down the stretch. Like, he passed me the ball back. He like the 3 I had on Vucevic. Like, he threw the ball back. It was like, go at him. I'm like, all right. Like, if I had 40, I'll tell you to swing me the ball. But, like, just to get that moment and for Zay to obviously trust me to make the shot. And obviously I'll go back home and watch the video. But, I mean, it was just great to hear our crowd scream and yell and get back in the win column, honestly.
That's Keyonte George. Big 3 to win it. And the Jazz win 150-147 over the Chicago Bulls. Coming up next, more DJ and PK, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.